All right, everybody, thanks for joining in once again. This episode, we are doing another Thanksgiving-themed episode. It's been a while, and I actually had to think about this the other day, and I remember that we did one. It wasn't the first year, I don't think. I think it was our second year. And if I remember, we covered this movie called Christie that was on Netflix. Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
I
cool.
do remember that.
And then I was trying to remember over the years if we'd ever done another Thanksgiving episode, and I don't think we did. So I think this is our second one. I could be wrong, but I think this is only our second one. And this time we're going way back to the 80s, and we're going to 87. Well, we're going to start in 87, then we're going to talk about it in a minute. But we're going to 1987's Blood Rage.
Woohoo! Yeah. So, how did you find this one? Let me ask you that. Because I had never heard of it, and when you said Blood Rage, for whatever reason, I was thinking this was going to be like a Netflix original or a Amazon, film, something that's not like, just something that came out streaming and something new, like within like the last 5 years or so.
No.
So
Nope.
when I saw it was an 80s flick, I was like, what? Really?
No, this is one of the ones that I'd been aware of for forever, and I've seen it a couple of times over the years. And then I want to say like last year or 2 years ago, it was all the rage in a bunch of different places. And I don't remember if this was before or after Joe Bob showed it on one of his Shudder specials, from whatever it was. And then ever since that happened, then it seemed like it even gained more popularity. But it's
okay.
But it's almost like you had said, it seems to me this is one of those movies, like sort of like Curtains and stuff, to where it's one of those ones that some people knew about, and then once all of the I think this is probably what happened once all these different streaming services started popping up, and then you had like Shudder popped up that was exclusively for horror. I don't know if Shudder's the only one that, or the first one that did that for only horror, but I think once somebody saw like, oh, Blood Rage, I remember that movie. And then then all of a sudden like started gaining a bunch of popularity again.
Another thing I just wanted to mention too, as I pulled up the wiki page for it, the poster art that they use with the knife and the reflection of the woman screaming in the blade. I remember that cover. That looks like a VHS box cover art that I remember seeing in the old school mom and pop days. So although I've never even once really thought about the movie or watching it, that cover is ringing a bell now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's what it was too. It was one of those covers that I saw, and then I don't know when the first time I saw it was or where it was. I mean, it could have been one of those times when I was a kid in living out in the country, and some Friday night, or at my grandparents' house even, some weekend, and they were like, oh, let's go rent a couple of movies, and walking around the mom and pop shop, and I was like, I could have been like, oh, that box looks cool, let's check that out.
Yeah.
This movie though, and well, I think we'll get to this too, but this movie is definitely one of those movies that I think if me and you would have been aware of this when we were kids, we would have watched this movie all the time. There's no way we wouldn't have watched it all the time.
No, I think you're absolutely right. It reminds me kind of the film that I think that it kind of that stuck. Oh gosh, you know what? It was before I go into that, yeah, you're right. I do think it's something that you and I would have watched. It would have been one of those cut versions, obviously, that was probably on like the USA Network back in the day, but I can see us definitely watching this one.
So let me ask you this, or let me say this, and then because I remember watching this movie multiple times, and then I want to say if it was preparing for this show or if it was like a little bit before that, when I realized that this movie technically wasn't released until 1987. And my first thought when I saw that 1987 was, there's no way that's right. Because we've said this before on here a couple of times, but this movie to me doesn't feel like a 1987 movie. Doesn't feel like a 1986 movie. This movie feels like an early 80s movie. And then, like you earlier, I opened up the Wikipedia page, I think for the first time for this movie, and the first thing that I noticed was it said that this movie was filmed in 1983 and then sat on a shelf for 4 years.
Yeah, actually, when you were introing the movie for the show, and you said 1987, I was like, oh shit, I think I watched the wrong movie. Because I do believe that on Amazon, when you see the movie art and you click on it to watch the movie, I do believe it said it was from 1983, which made sense. So then when you said that, I'm like, oh crap, I watched the wrong one. We're going to be doing two different movies here. But yeah, then you're absolutely right. It was made in 83 and sat on a shelf for looks like 4 years. And it does not feel like a late 80s movie at all. This is totally an early 80s film.
Not at all. And I will say one of the bigger things with this, outside of the fact that it doesn't feel like it was a later 80s movie, is the fact that there is so much blood and gore in this movie that if this would have came out in 87, it would have been hacked to pieces by the ratings board. Oh gosh, yeah. And actually that's the thing too, but wasn't that back in 83 they were, well, you know what, maybe that's why it didn't come out for so long, because in the early 80s too they were hacking a lot of stuff. Well, I guess not the B movies. It was more like the like Friday the 13th right.
Part 2. Yep. But that's weird. I mean, I don't want to go off too far into this, on this rabbit hole, but so you have like Friday the 13th Part 2 that was hacked up. And you had My Bloody Valentine that was hacked up, and those were like 81, 82-ish, I think. But then you had like Friday the 13th Part 3 that really wasn't, and 3 and 4 seemed to be kind of left alone. So I don't know. That was the right, I guess the time, what I remember hearing is that was when John Lennon was killed. So that might have had something to do with that. But yeah, no, then you get to the late 80s. There's no way this movie would have, it certainly wouldn't have gone theatrical. It couldn't have been theatrical, could it have? Must have been released directly to VHS, I'm guessing.
Well, I think this got a little bit of a theatrical release in 87, didn't it? Let's see here.
Did it? Okay. Oh, in 87. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, limited release theatrically in the United States. You're right.
Yeah.
In 87. So limited release, kind of like, let's put it in like, they probably released it with some porns or something.
In 87, there was a big draw for, you had Freddy was at his peak. Jason was, that was what, 87? Was that Friday the 13th, Part 7?
Yeah.
Jason was like at his peak. I mean, I could see a horror movie getting, like you would, not necessarily with the porns, but maybe a double feature at the drive-in or something, like, oh, we're going to show Friday the 13th Part 7 and Blood Rage, like...
Well, maybe the drive-in circuit, yeah, because this would not have been, I can't picture in 87 a film like Blood Rage uncut, at least like the version I saw where it's, complete all the gore and everything being tossed into a theater. Because it just seemed like they were so like... they really like were tightened down on that at this point. I could be wrong though.
Yeah, I have no idea. I mean, the only thing that we were seeing in the theaters in 87 was what? Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah,
something like that. What was that one? License to Drive or something? Wasn't that the Corey's movie?
Right.
Oh man, actually, I think I did see that in a movie theater.
Oh gosh, what did I see in '87 in the theaters? That was like I think that was the big one for me, if I can remember correctly. Was actually, I think Lethal Weapon 2 came out then. I remember that was well, I didn't see it in the theater, but I remember that being like a huge deal back then.
Mm.
Was RoboCop '87? Or was that '88? That was like around that era when I think like '87. Yeah, like the movies like The License to Drive and all that stuff. The Coreys were getting older. But then there was also, that was like the Arnold Schwarzenegger boom, and then the action films and RoboCop and Predator and all that stuff was coming out. It seemed like around then. It's like the post Rambo era. Oh no, and Rambo 3 came out in either '87 or '88.
Yeah, RoboCop did come out in '87.
'87, okay, well, cool.
Yeah, that makes sense because that would have been. Yeah, that was all of those. Like you were talking, I mean, those, and we talked about this before, like during some of those episodes, all of those, like, it was weird because you had these horror movies that are getting hacked up, and, you know, like, oh, you got to cut out blood, and you got to cut out gore, and all this stuff, and then you have, like, Rambo, Rambo, of course, but RoboCop, ultra gory, ultra violent movie, yeah, all the Predator and stuff. I mean, I'm sure the Predator probably. Well, no, I bet it didn't. I bet Predator kind of got away with that because it had Arnold in it, so they were like, "Oh, we don't want to mess with that. We'll let them do whatever they want."
They got pretty gory in Predator,
right?
I think. I mean, it wasn't like, you know, I guess over the top, but it wasn't RoboCop gore, but it was still like. It had its moments.
Well, yeah, because isn't there a scene in? I haven't seen the original Predator in a long time, but isn't there a scene in that one where like he has like a skeleton, like a spine, like hanging in a tree? Is that in the first one, or was that not?
Yeah,
until,
he rips the guy's spine out. I mean, they don't show it actually happen. They show him holding it. And then they show there's a lot of scenes where the Predator skins some people and he hangs them in the trees.
Yeah,
there's a lot of that.
That's pretty gory.
But yeah, not compared to Blood Rage though, because that is where there's some serious gore in this one. But again, this is like 1983 type of gore. This reminded me of, gosh, like I think of like just sort of those very exploitation type slasher films, and this is like right up the lines of The Mutilator. And The Mutilator to me is probably one of the most gory, B or C level horror movies, And this one kind of goes right around there.
The thing I always love in some of these early movies that were really trying to do the gore is that I always find hilarious is they never seem to get the blood right. It's either... It doesn't look like blood for one of two reasons. It's either one, too thick, so it looks like it's like syrup or sometimes even more like paste. Mm-hmm. And then there's the other times, like in this one, where it looks like it's fruit punch. It's so thin and clear and runny and stuff. And, there's like one scene where I think he stabs the machete and his hand like goes all the way through the guy's body and there's just like blood like gushing out the guy. And I'm just like, oh man, that doesn't look like blood. Come on.
Yeah, you're right. No, you're absolutely right. There's a lot of these, some of these early gore effects were a little bit over the top and they don't really, they don't look as real as obviously some of the stuff we've got nowadays. But at the same time though, wouldn't you agree that like, even though exactly like you said, the color's not right and there's some things that just are a little goofy about it, but something about it still kind of seems pretty disturbing.
Oh yeah, there's a couple of scenes in this that so you have the scene with the two boys at the beginning of the movie where he's like hatcheting the guy's face. That's gnarly. And then you have the scene a little bit later where he hacks off the guy's hand. And I don't remember if his hand is holding a beer or holding a phone, but then his hand like falls on the floor and his fingers are like twitching and stuff. And it's totally fake, but you're just like, oh, that's kind of nasty.
It is totally nasty. Then, you look at it.
that same guy, like later on in the movie, is still like his dead body is still like part of the movie, and then towards the end he comes back into the movie, and you're just like, oh, gross.
Well, how about the part with the psychiatrist, where she gets, you don't see it happen on screen, but then, the other brother comes and finds her body, and she's been chopped in half in the woods.
Yeah.
And then he like takes her legs, and he's like kind of putting them back on, trying to put it back onto the rest of her body.
Oh, so bad. Now, let me ask you this and see if you feel the same way about this that I do. Do you think that the way that this story is and the way that's structured and the way the acting is in the movie, the way the story, the dialogue is, everything about it, if you were to find out that the happenings in Blood Rage and the happenings in Sleepaway Camp are in the same world, would that make sense to you or not? They're not. I don't know if they are, but I mean, every time I watch this movie, all I keep thinking is, man, if there was like a news flash on the TV or the paper or something about some weird girl at the Summerway camp with a penis that just chops some little boy's head off, I'd be like, oh, I totally get it.
Totally. It does have that Sleepaway Camp vibe to it big time.
Cool.
That's a good example. Yeah, I think this one falls right in line with that in the way it was filmed. The acting, the directing, it's just the whole thing. Yeah, I could totally see that.
And I think that's part of its charm is, and again, I mean, Sleepaway Camp's another one of those ones that was not a movie that the two of us were really aware of when we were kids, but I think if we would have been, it would have been one of the ones that we would have watched all the time. The only thing I keep thinking every time I watch this movie is, man, I wish I would have known about this movie when I was a kid, so I could have seen it 1,000 times by now.
Yeah, no, I hear you. Yeah, it's one of those films we probably would have watched over and over again. It does, but you're right. You're totally on. I'm totally on board with what you said about it. It's definitely a Sleepaway Camp vibe. And even like that beginning scene. Okay, so the beginning, like where, the two brothers are in the back of the station wagon, and they sneak out and they're walking around the drive-through theater, and then the one brother grabs a hatchet and just starts whacking the guy in the head. And then he just kind of, the way he, like, I don't know, like the acting in that scene where he hands it over to his, here, take this, here, and wipes some blood on his brother. And it's like, and he's like, Mom, he did this. It was like, yeah, totally. Like, I could totally see that, like, in a scene in, like, some spin-off of Sleepaway Camp. Totally, absolutely.
Oh, man. It would have been, what would have been cool is if, again, I mean, I don't think it is in this. Again, we don't do much research on here. I have no idea if it's written by the same people that wrote Sleepaway Camp, if it had anything to do with Sleepaway Camp. But all I kept thinking when I was watching this movie the other day was, wouldn't it be cool if the guy who made Basket Case and Brain Damage, and then Frankenhooker, right? Brain Damage, or is it Brain Damage?
Yes.
Brain Damage?
Brain Damage. That's the little creature that...
yeah, yep.
Yeah.
But anyway, in Brain Damage, the guy from Basket Case makes a cameo and stuff in that, and so you're like, oh, they're in the same world. That's cool.
Oh, yeah, right.
So it would have been cool if, like, one of the girls or something from the camp would have been, like, in the background or something, or what was Angela's brother's name in that movie? Ricky? If, like, Ricky would have been, like, somewhere in the movie.
Yeah. No, I see that. Yeah, absolutely.
It would have been hilarious. I'd have been like, oh, I totally get it.
Absolutely, totally.
Yeah,
totally agree.
Don't get me wrong about Blood Rage. I'm not saying this is, like, a great movie. That's not what I'm saying at all. I mean, this movie is one of those ones that if there was beer and popcorn in the dictionary and there was a list of movies that were definitive beer and popcorn movies, Blood Rage would be in that list somewhere.
I would agree. Yeah, I would agree. This is not a high quality film by any stretch of the imagination. This is low rent. This is, it's got all the criteria, fits all the criteria for a B, C level movie. Bad acting, bad directing, bad story, bad special effects. But at the same time, as bad as it is, you can somehow find some enjoyment in it.
Yeah, I just wish that... So I watched this on Shudder, and I remember when I was thinking about picking this for the show, I had looked to see if it was on Shudder, because I had remembered that Joe Bob had did it, and so I was like, oh, that'd be kind of fun to sneak in an episode of Joe Bob while we're waiting for Joe Bob to come back. And when I checked a couple of weeks ago, it was on there, like both versions, the regular version and then the Joe Bob hosted version. And then I was like, oh, cool, yeah, I'm definitely picking Blood Rage. And then when I went to watch it the other day, the Joe Bob episode was gone, but the regular version of Blood Rage was still on Shudder. So then I was like, well, that's weird.
That's weird.
Yeah. So
you watched this on Shudder then?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Not with Joe Bob, though, because that part wasn't on Shudder anymore. Which I don't know why, but whatever. I mean, it wasn't that big of a deal, but I could definitely see this movie, not that it would be better with Joe Bob, but I think, this is definitely another example of a movie, too, that would be fun with a horror host to come in and not necessarily break it up,
agree with you
but
more.
yeah, just to have fun with it, for sure.
Yeah, a little space here and there, sure. You need a little break from it. I agree.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and give Blood Rage a pretty big thumbs up. I mean, I thoroughly like it.
Okay.
It's an enjoyable movie. It is a Thanksgiving movie. I mean, we didn't really talk about the movie too much, but it does happen over Thanksgiving, supposedly. I think it's supposed to be on Thanksgiving and was the main plot of the movie actually takes place. Yeah, when it's all one day.
When you started talking about Thanksgiving, too, when you were introing this movie, I was like, oh, shit, I watched the wrong movie. I don't remember anything about Thanksgiving. Yeah. So, but yeah, then as you started to... I pulled the Wikipedia, and they say something about Thanksgiving. And, oh, okay, I guess it was on Thanksgiving. Yep. I had no idea. There was no, Thanksgiving dinner scene that I remember or anything like that.
There's one real quick scene, I think it's, sort of... in the middle of the movie where the mom and the stepdad or whatever, or the dad, or I don't know what he is, but they have two littler kids and they're all sitting down for dinner and the dad's carving up a turkey. You have to pay attention.
Oh.
Okay. I don't think they ever say it's Thanksgiving. He's just carving a turkey. So I don't know if it's technically actually on Thanksgiving or if people were just oh, there's a turkey in that movie. It's a Thanksgiving movie.
What was it? Maybe it was Thanksgiving break or something where all the... Is that why the...
No, it's not a final... What was the other... What was it? I'm trying to remember. There was an... Oh, you know what? We did do another Thanksgiving movie, didn't we? Isn't there...
You're thinking Final Exam?
No. Mutilator. We covered Mutilator. That's a Thanksgiving movie, isn't it?
Oh, that is? I didn't know that. Okay. Yeah, I didn't know that.
Isn't it? There's one of them where they're they come...
Can't remember.
The kids come home over, you're talking a Thanksgiving break. I thought it was Mutilator. I don't remember now. Maybe it was Mutilator. Maybe I'm thinking of something else. I know there was another movie where kids come home over a winter holiday break, but it's not Christmas. But no, there's no, I don't remember there being actually mention of Thanksgiving in Blood Rage. I just remember, if I've seen this movie 5 times, I would be surprised. But I do know that there is a scene, in the middle of the movie, where the mom is talking to the dad, and there's 2, kids, or maybe there's only one kid sitting at the table, and he's cutting up a turkey, and he, asks the girl, would you like another piece of turkey, or are you done with the turkey, or something like that, to where you wouldn't even necessarily know it's turkey, except for it's mentioned that it's turkey.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and say with this one, now you said a big thumbs up. I can't go that far because it wasn't like this is, I don't know, the big thumbs up films usually are the ones where you're going to go watch them again and again and again. And this one, it's not going to be a double feature for me. I'm not going to watch it more than this last time. I can't see myself watching this again, but I will say that throughout the entirety of the film, my eyes were on the screen, so that's a good sign. I mean, there's been some movies we've watched. I'm looking at you, Zombies 1 and 2, where it was very difficult to stay focused. So I'm going to go ahead and give this.
You're going to diss Erica Sturdivant like that.
Sorry, that franchise. That franchise just ain't going to do it for me. So I'm going to go ahead and I'll follow your lead with this one, and I'll give it a thumbs up, but not in a big thumbs up like yours. Not like the whole fake rubber thumb trying to hitchhike type of thing.
You're not jumping up and down, giving it a thumbs up?
No jumping up and down. This is your typical, just basic thumb. And I would recommend, just give it a watch. And I think, strangely enough, after seeing the original cover art for the 87 probably release, well, I guess that wouldn't be the original. But anyhow, that just kind of brought back some mom and pop video memories. So I'm going to say, it's one of those that was probably sitting on the shelf forever back in the day. I never watched, and I finally got to. So there you have it.